welcome everybody to our podcast. My name is Don Putkela.
And I'm Angela Putkela.
And this is Welcome to Livingston, where we talk all about Livingston County, invite local businesses in to talk with them. And we are really excited about the business we have in with us today.
Absolutely. And we're with the Putkela Group Real Estate Professionals because Livingston County really has a lot to offer. And we noticed with our clients, everybody moving in and really wanted to be able to feature and tell everybody, even those that have been here a long time, about all these great businesses. And especially if you are hungry or thirsty or interested in a little bit of entertainment here, I think that these are the guys for you.
Yeah, so today we have with us Eternity Brewing. We have Trevor Brooks and Ethan Whitesell. Thank you guys so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. Appreciate the opportunity to come on here with you guys.
Oh, thanks so much. So I guess to start off a little bit, why don't you guys tell us a little bit about Eternity Brewing?
Yeah, absolutely. So Eternity Brewing, we're a very small microbrewery located in Howell at Livingston and Grand River. We specialize in craft beer. We have 22 taps. We also have a lot of craft food. We rotate our menu through to try to really bring a unique experience and really focus on the community aspect of bringing people together, creating a relaxing environment that people can connect and really enjoy the food and the beer, but also just enjoy the atmosphere and enjoy the camaraderie of being in a brewery.
That
awesome.
Is
right,
awesome.
Right here, local Livingston County. It's awesome to have.
Yeah, I mean, you have a great location right there at Livingston and Grand River. You're right there in the plaza. Let's see, right across from where Art Van used to be. So Gardner White now, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
Yeah, super close, right off the freeway for anybody in the county or even for those outside of it.
Yeah, it's right off the Livingston exit. So, lots of parking. Plenty of access, so come and see us.
Great. Now, which brew does everybody like the best? Like, what's sort of the fan favorite?
Oh, the best. It's like asking what your favorite movie is, right? It depends on the mood that you're in. We definitely, our staple IPAs are Torn in Two. It's consistently one of our top sellers. If you look at the history of the brewery for the last 6 years, that beer is always outsold, but it's also always on, right?
Yeah.
But what's really great about the microbrewery scene is that we have such a variety and we experiment all the time with new releases and new recipes. And watching those like outsell that staple, and then that sort of says, okay, maybe that's one that needs a little more attention, right? And
cool.
Gets a more permanent place on the board. So if you're going to purely by volume over the last several years, it's been that Torn in Two. But we have a relatively new brewer who's brought a lot of new recipes to us in the last 90 days. And several of those have already sort of outsold that Torn in Two. So we're really seeing things mix up over there at the brewery. And we work really hard at having a very diverse group. We're not just IPAs, we're not just hazy IPAs, or we're not just lagers. A lot of breweries specialize, and some even like specifically as Belgians. At Eternity, we really try to be a wide palette. Beer for everybody type of thing. But we always work to have some lights and some darks and some stuff in between on the board, and we're constantly rotating those and making seasonal adjustments as well as just experimental stuff.
That is so awesome, because I know in the last 20 years, microbrews and, home brews and such has become so much more popular. So, I mean, when people come into Eternity Brewing, it's so nice that, they're looking for that beer, that staple that they've had before that you have. But having that unique atmosphere or being able to try something new is a great thing to be able to do. So how do you get into being a microbrew or being a brewery?
Ooh, that's a loaded question. I mean, who doesn't want to own a brewery?
Yeah,
right.
honestly,
Sounds
right?
great. Who doesn't want to own a bar? Who doesn't want to own a restaurant? Everybody wants to do this.
Yeah.
Right.
We didn't found this brewery. We purchased it. It was started by another couple, husband, wife. They were big, diehard, craft brew, home brew people that turned it into a business. And we purchased a business off of them, and we have tried to bring an element of expansion to it, an element of like a bigger vision, rebranding, adding food service. So we try to interject sort of the next level on the business side. But why we were interested in buying it is because we love beer, right? We love craft beer. And we really liked the beer that they were brewing there. And we saw an opportunity to do something that we could get passionate about and enjoy, and grow a business as well. And that's, I would say that's pretty much how it came to pass.
Yeah, the short answer is we sat at the bar for a long time before we
Yeah.
Like, hey, we're already here.
In hindsight, it was easier to just keep paying our own tabs.
There you go. And I know you guys mentioned a menu. So you guys are serving food now, and some people that have known about you guys for a while might not realize that now you guys have a menu.
Yeah, we sort of had a false start. So when we bought the business, we knew the number one thing, we had like a list of 5 things we wanted to address. The number one being lack of food service. So we focused on that. And we launched our kitchen right before the first shutdown happened. So we ended up sort of a false start. And then we had to start all over. But we are back up and running at full capacity with a full menu that we're really, really proud of. And we definitely say if you haven't been to Eternity since like this past March, you really haven't been to Eternity. We've really got so many changes that we've implemented through the spring and the summer, and they've paid dividends, and we're hearing tons of positive feedback. One of which is adding that full menu. We've tried to have a very approachable menu, simple items. What you expect, from a brewery, from a very casual sit down, come as you are type place. Yeah. Nachos and flatbreads and sandwiches, things of that nature. But we want to always deliver on the quality and the uniqueness and the variety of those menu items. So, and we think that pairs well with the idea behind the whole craft brew and the craft culture that you see at breweries.
Very cool.
Great. No, it sounds pretty tasty. So, I mean, which ones do people like the best in terms of some of these new options? Are you selling?
Yeah, so our smokehouse nachos are probably the most popular dish. Flatbreads are always a good seller. And we have really focused recently on bringing in weekly specials. So we feature new foods every weekend. And so like this last weekend, we had sliders, we had brats, kind of celebrating the end of summer. And so we really rotate that through seasonally to really bring some, unique and interesting specials to our normal menu.
Very cool.
One of those might be our flatbread. We have a flatbread pickle pizza.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. It's awesome.
For all those pickle people out there, there are some people that are really into pickles.
We try to put unique twists on several of the dishes like that. So it's just a little bit something different or unexpected.
Right. No, I love that because not only, you're getting different new items on the menu, but you're coming in and you're getting new types of beer each time you're coming in, and then you're able to pair things differently. So I've always been curious about that. I'm not a huge beer person, but you have some people that they'll drink the same thing for 20, 30 years. And that idea of expanding your palate and looking at the different types of things, when people come in and they ask, what's the new brew, or do you guys have discussions with people or talk to them about, hey, what are you looking for in a beer?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Our staff is really great and trained well on helping people identify what it is that they would enjoy. So as Trevor talked about earlier, we really focus on trying to have a broad spectrum of beers. And on that list is we always try to make sure there's something that your typical, not your typical craft beer drinker would enjoy, right? So someone that's looking for X, Y, or Z light beer, they can come in and hey, this is our lightest beer, but it really has these tasting notes. And so we can kind of help people start to maybe take that craft journey if they're open to it. And so we really have that spectrum of, even people that don't like beer at all, hey, maybe this fruited sour might be interesting to you. And so we really try to explore their current tastes and then maybe guide them towards something that they would enjoy.
Yeah, appeal to all kinds of tastes and flavors. And then I love that seasonality thing, because here we're coming into the fall and then there'll be winter after that. And it's something that probably keeps things fresh and interesting and always having different options.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely right. I mean, you don't get cravings for hot chocolate in August, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So it changes. Like I love dark beers, but I don't drink them in the summer. They never sound. So
right.
The seasonality thing and the pairing with the seasonalities and changing the food to match the seasonalities, where you switch to heartier foods, so you get a bit heartier beers. Yeah, it keeps things interesting.
Right. And then I noticed that you guys, for the non-beer drinkers, obviously, you have a great menu in there, but I noticed on your website that you partner up to have wine and hard cider as well.
as well as some craft sodas and some nitro coffee. So we really want
Wow,
to be.
it does have something for everybody.
It's very important to us that as a brewery, we are not a bar, and that is very important to us. That's why I say it specifically. It's not a bar. It's not taking your kids to any other bar for dinner. The brewery scene is really a culture and an atmosphere, and people that seek out craft breweries aren't looking for a bar. They're not looking for a bar vibe. So we get a lot of people there because of the atmosphere it breeds. Whether you're there playing cornhole or giant Jenga, or whether you're just having a discussion with somebody you've never met at the bar. It is a place that really breeds engagement between tables and between other people. And in that fashion, we really strive to make sure that we are sort of all welcoming. And so we do provide a lot of options, and that's important to us. So we do have wine from local wineries, Howell Main Street Winery, as well as Spicers. So we do support them as well. We have a nitro coffee that we keep on tap all the time, which a lot of people will mix with some of their dark beers, and that's interesting.
Neat.
And then we have like a lineup of Town Club sodas, which really rings to a demographic. A lot of Livingston County are transplants from Oakland County.
Yeah.
And that old town club, so many people come in and they have memories of that from when they were a child. So we've brought that in as something to keep us different and make us a little bit unique, because you don't bump into that everywhere. So we do work hard to provide, again, it's a brewery, but it isn't a bar. It's a completely different thing.
That is awesome. That is
Excellent.
awesome.
No, I'm glad that you kind of highlighted that so our listeners can understand that. And
It's really important to us. I mean, we get a lot of families in there with young kids, and they play on the patio, and they'll take the Jenga blocks and build dominoes out of them or whatever. But that's the atmosphere that we've always wanted to cultivate there.
Right, because, when people think of a bar, they don't think of, hey, I'm going to bring my kids in here, I'm going to have a family dinner,
Yeah,
I'm going to have fun and such.
not a bar,
But
it's
you
a
guys
brewery.
have that atmosphere to help that.
Absolutely. So cool. Well, now, so I wanted to ask you about like the Mug Club. I think like you've been doing some really fun and cool things, and you have the trivia nights. And Ethan, can you tell us a little bit more about some of those things?
Sure, yeah. So our Mug Club, kind of goes along with everything we've just been talking about, right? Mug Club is kind of just a collection of people that enjoy the vibe of the brewery and want to, spend more time there and get some nice perks along the way. It's a yearly thing, but we have additional larger mugs for our Mug Club members, reduced price on beer. So there's a lot of perks for it. Sometimes we have some special releases just for Mug Club members, as well as discounts on merchandise and special events as well. But at the end of the day, what it is it's a club, right? It's a group of people that enjoy sitting at the bar, and they end up all knowing each other. They come to see each other. They come to spend time together because, it helps people connect. And so that's really what it's about.
So an opportunity, especially for some of the people that are moving in from out of the area, which is, one of the things that we created this podcast for. It's nice to know that this is a great opportunity for them to come and meet people that are right here local. And, I think that's really fantastic that for anybody that likes beer, and that's pretty much everybody, right? What a great opportunity. How does somebody join the Mug Club?
It really is as easy as coming in and talking with one of our brew tenders and just asking for a registration form. And it's that easy. There is a initial entrance fee, but besides that, it's an annual thing, and you get most of our members make more than their entrance fee back.
I'll bet. Yeah.
There you go.
And it makes sense, that it's like something to just get involved in here. And
pretty much every day there's going to be 3 or 4 people in the Mug Club sitting at the bar, and you'll get to know them as you come. So it's nice. It is really as a community.
That's cool. So, and I noticed on your website, you guys have trivia nights every week, right?
We do. Yeah, Wednesday night is our trivia night. We have 2 games, 7:30 and 8:30. They're completely free to play. We bring a great crowd in, and we have a good partnership with Sporkle Trivia, and it's a great time. Just lots of people there. The whole room's full, and you can bring as many people as you want on your team, and it's a great time.
Yeah, there's a high energy in the place on those nights for sure. A lot of people now reserve tables well in advance because we end up completely full in that capacity. Which going into the fall, as it gets cooler outside, will be even worse because we won't have to spill over to the patio.
Right. Yeah. And I know that's a very tight-knit community, very dedicated as well.
They're diehard. The teams show up week after week after week. Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of fun to see because you get the whole room engaged, right?
Now, which nights are they? Is it like Wednesday nights or something? Or
Yep, every Wednesday night. Yep.
awesome.
That is awesome.
They're looking for something fun to do on a Wednesday night. That sounds like a lot of fun to me too. And then in terms of events that you have coming up.
Yeah, so we are going to be having an Oktoberfest. And so details of that are still coming out. We do also have a monthly charity benefit euchre tournament. It's every second Tuesday of the month. It's in partnership with the Brighton Optimist Club.
Okay.
So essentially, they'll pick out a local charity or a charity with local ties. And a lot of times, the charity will bring a representative in. The Brighton Optimist Club will be there. And so we have that euchre tournament. A portion of all the beer proceeds go back to the charity, as well as there's 50-50 raffles and part of the entrance fee as well. So I think since we've started, I think we've raised over $6,000 for local charities just on this these single monthly euchre tournaments. So
what a great way to give back.
Yeah, it's been a real blessing. I mean, it helps build community and a lot of people that have never been to Eternity. But still care about their local causes, end up finding us and realize that it's a great place to come.
That is awesome. We might have to check that out.
Yeah, I think so.
It becomes rare to find places to play euchre once you're out of college, to get people to do it. So that's awesome.
Oh, that's great. And it's great that it's a regular thing, too, and that it's different causes that it helps to support.
That is really good. Yeah, no, that's really interesting. And I think it's so good to be able to have, like Angela's saying, that place for community, whether it be the trivia nights, whether it be the mug club, or even the euchre tournaments, to have those opportunities to bring people in, to see some of the same people week after week, but to meet new people and such, and to have that space there. That is a really great benefit that you guys have given to the community.
That's excellent. I love that you have these different events. So, and I imagine people can kind of check out on your website in terms of seeing what events are coming up and knowing that there's the euchre, there's the trivia, and Oktoberfest. That sounds like really fun too.
Yeah. So how does Oktoberfest work?
We brew an Oktoberfest beer and then people drink a lot of it.
Awesome.
So more details will be coming out. I would recommend follow our Facebook page. Oktoberfest typically like last week of September.
Right.
And so we'll certainly have, Oktoberfest themed food specials and hopefully music, and lots of Oktoberfest beer.
Breaking out the Lederhosen.
That's right.
That's all good.
I guess another question, I've always been interested in the fact of the microbrews and the different flavors that you guys bring in and such. Obviously, how much of a beer sells is a good indicator of whether to bring it back or such. But do you have people coming in saying, hey, where did this brew go? I love this. It's gone now. Changing something or bringing something back in based on the feedback of your clientele?
Absolutely, that happens. And that's a good thing, too, right? Not that
They noticed.
We don't want them to be disappointed, but when they truly miss something, then we know that one kind of hit and struck a chord. And I think what you're also touching on too is the craft brew can be so diverse,
right?
In what we do. Like we had one for the summer that we just went through, but it's Raspino, so it's jalapeno and raspberry flavored beer, right?
Wow.
But you got to be into that.
Yeah.
You definitely got to be into the peppers and whatnot. And then in the winter times, we'll brew a dark brew. We have one called Star S'mores, right? And it's everything you'd expect, all the flavors you'd expect to get from a s'more. So you can get very diverse in the flavor profiles and get an extreme ends of what you can do with beer and with craft beer. And that like variety is the spice of life. And I am disappointed myself to see them, sometimes rotate and be gone, but we can't have them on all the time. And also jalapeno beer doesn't sound very good to me in January.
That's
you go.
fair.
More in the winter months, I like, we have some smoke stuff that we do. That's got a real smoky, it's a dark beer with a smoky flavor to it, and those type of things. So there is so even when we lose something really unique, it's coming back on with something else. But what we do try to do for some level of stability is we basically have about 8 beers that we consider core core beers.
Right.
And we try to keep at least most of those on at all time, so that you know there's something you like there that you can count on. And that those core beers range from light to dark, and everything in between. And then we try to have another 4 to 6 that are seasonal, that come and go, and they might be repeats, or they're experimental, meaning they're the first time we brewed it. And if something hits on experimental well enough and it really pops, it becomes a seasonal type thing, right?
Got you.
And if we
Nice.
get enough demand for it, and maybe it becomes a new core beer.
Right.
So we're always evolving and always assessing that, and willing to adjust recipes. In fact, we have one beer that's called Michigan Hopped. It's brewed exclusively with all hops from Michigan, but we're on version 43 right now. So
Wow.
every time they brew it, they tweak it a little bit, tweak the recipe, and then they assess feedback, and they watch for ratings on the beer and comments on the beer and what people think of it, and then we tweak it again and move forward. So staying within the realm of it's a pale ale, and it's always brewed with Michigan hops and nothing but we tweak that recipe every time, and they track it to see where we're going. So there's a lot of nuances to it, and I'll listen to customers at the bar talk about, for V43 is the best one yet, or I really miss 38.
Wow.
And honestly, myself, I won't lie to you, I can't remember the nuances between it.
Right.
Like who could really remember that? But somebody gets one that they just love, and then that one sticks.
I got you.
And I think for myself, the craft brew, in all honesty, it's just being able to try something different. And you taste a lot of really good beers, but there's a lot of really good beers out there, right? It's when one really stands out, when something catches you that makes you remember it. Like our Star S'mores is a beer that has its own following. People show up for that. It's such a rich dessert type beer. People come for that. And the same with the aforementioned Raz Pinot is another thing that people will make a point to come in for. And that's a lot of fun. When those individual brews sort of start becoming their own little brand.
Right. Got you. So what's the turn time between, like, I have an idea for a craft beer, this is the unique flavor I'm looking, to when it's ready for someone to try at the store or at the...
It really depends. Assuming you have all the materials you need, some beers can be ready within 10 to 14 days, and some, on the far end of the spectrum, if you're looking at a barrel aged beer, it could be 6 months to a year.
Wow.
But typically it's between, I would say, 14 and 30 days.
Okay.
For most beers.
Right.
Most of the production happens in one day, and then there's a lot of resting, then there's fermentation, there's additional flavoring, but the actual building of the core product is a one-day process.
Right.
And then how the different steps can add to that. And the fermentation taking the longest portion of that time, the beer is actually ready, but it's still fermenting and settling out.
Right. So you guys are doing a lot of forward planning on your
production schedule is a big component of it. Yes. Yeah. Planning out, trying to anticipate when something's going to be ready and when we're going to need something on the board, and trying not to miss, So our staple Torn 2 that we try to always have, sometimes it misses because it just sold a little extra quick and we're 3 days away from the new batch or something. So we try to avoid those bumps, but you can't always do it.
Right.
A lot of coordination.
Yes, which
our
head brewer
it's
takes.
It's the blessing and a curse of having a small, setup. Is we can be nimble, we can try new things, but we also don't produce in huge quantities like larger breweries do.
Right.
So we're not quite as consistent, but that allows us to be more unique.
Right. Yeah. And I'm assuming your mug club people are really important in those experimental ones to kind of let you guys know what they think of everything.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they don't hesitate to let us know.
Well, usually throughout the process, like our head brewer is very engaged in the business. So if you're there and you're there at all regularly, you'll see him in the afternoons. He comes out in the front of the house and he talks to people. And when he's working a new brew through and he wants some feedback, he'll bring out little samples. And it's those regulars that he really talks to the most.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you think of this one? He's looking for ideas because he can still tweak and adjust as he goes through. And that, again, that's part of it. I come back to craft breweries are little communities unto themselves. They really, truly are. I think all the time, every good story my dad ever told me as a kid started with him and his buddies at the pub. And I feel like craft breweries now are sort of that little commune space
Right.
for people that are really interested in this unique thing. It is a bit of an art form, but it's just such a very casual, welcoming space to just hang out and have conversation. That it's its own community, and that gives me the warm and fuzzies every time I'm there.
Yeah. No, makes a difference.
It really does.
Especially for, folks that are moving in that, that they're looking for that. I think this is a great place to check out.
No, and I think it's a really great place to check out. Come in, have a meal, check out some different brews, be able to, taste. Do you guys have like samplers that you do too, where you can try, 3 or 4 of them at once?
Oh yeah, we do flights.
Okay.
Which is it's essentially four beers, but it makes up about the size of a normal pint. So you can test out 4, or if you really just want to try one before you order, we are happy to give out samples too.
Nice.
Awesome.
Very good. Now, is there anything that we haven't covered yet that you just want to make sure to mention, or? I
would just say, we've kind of talked about our offering, and I just would recommend that everyone give us a try. It's a place where a lot of times people come in and they didn't know we were there, or they didn't know we had food, or they didn't know we had, what type of beer we had to offer, and they come back. So I would say give us a try.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
And I know, you had your question that you always try to get in
Oh,
at
I
the
always
end.
try to. I love this one. We love Livingston County so much, and I'm sure you guys do too. But what's your favorite thing about living in Livingston County, living, working, all of that?
I would say, it kind of ties in with what we were talking about this whole time, but people in Livingston County definitely seem to be willing to engage and be a part of a community. So whether that comes, from your kid's sports team or being at the brewery, whatever it is, people seem willing to be engaged and join into a community, and aren't kind of standoffish or avoiding that type of interaction. So I think that is a pretty common theme among people in Livingston County.
Yeah, it's a very welcoming place.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it is a very welcoming place. I was just thinking through the whole dynamic, right? So I grew up here. I graduated from Heartland. I've always just been here. So for me, it's like, it just is where I've always been, right?
It's home, right?
Yeah, it is home. But, I think we have a lot to offer in recreational, which I enjoy a lot. We have a multitude of lakes. We actually have a bunch of great community parks and state parks right at our fingertips, and metro parks right at our fingertips, while at the same time not being completely remote,
Right.
from everything when you need to get to the airport.
This is true.
But it is a super simple place to live. I never locked my car, and I rarely even locked the house, to be honest with you. Yeah, but I just feel like, for me, I just grew up here, and I almost don't really know it any other way.
Yeah.
Got ya.
That makes sense. My goodness, you've seen so many people move in over the years, I'm sure.
Yeah, certainly.
Not many
Yes.
people we run into can say that they've been here the whole time.
Yes. So I guess to wrap it all up, how do people find out more information about you guys other than walking in and through the front door? And obviously everyone should go do that. They should go check it out, have a meal there, get a couple pints, and really enjoy the atmosphere. But where can people find out more information about you guys and events coming up and such?
Yeah, I'd highly recommend our Facebook and our Instagram at Eternity Brewing. And all that stuff kind of filters through to our website as well. So anything that we're hosting or bringing to the menu, bringing to the tap list will be on our Facebook.
Okay, so that they can find out about upcoming brews then as well, and when they're going to be there.
Absolutely. Yeah, we like to post little teasers on there of what we're cooking up in the back. So.
Ooh, cool.
Yep. Yeah, the socials are a great place for it. Ethan stays right on top of posting everything to that, and then it gets back to the website as well. There is a craft brew app called Untappd for people that are really into the craft brew scene, and we are a verified venue on Untappd, so we post our menus there as well. And if you really want to become a craft beer geek and really want to get into it, Untappd is a free social service that's all about craft beer, and you can even set up alerts for when certain beers go on the menu, and you'll get a notification that maybe there's a beer you're waiting for. You're waiting for that Star S'mores to come out. So we do utilize that as well. And people that are really into craft beer, they check that out. Definitely.
Right.
So how about the Star S'mores? When does that one become available? Or
We typically have a release party for that, and that is normally the week before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Wow. Okay, so that's a very big deal.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Now, do you guys do growlers or like the to-go as well?
Yep. Yeah, we do growlers. We can sell new growlers, or people can bring in their growlers as well.
Good.
And cans. We have everything available in cans.
Oh, everything available in cans. Okay. Wonderful. So that means people that come in, if they have one that they love, they can figure out to take it home and keep it in the fridge. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so bring in and bring your own growler from anywhere that you might have one already. People have a lot of specialty travel ones now for camping and whatnot. So, yep, we'll fill your growler or sell you cans, whatever is the easiest.
wonderful.
Great. What great options, man. I'm super thirsty now, I think, after talking about all this. So.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming today. We really do appreciate it. And everyone listening out there, please check out Eternity Brewing. Go to their Instagram, go to their Facebook, like and subscribe our podcast anywhere that you can find podcasts, or just go to welcometolivingston.com and you can check out the podcast link there with all of our previous episodes. So thanks again for coming in today.
Welcome to Livingston.